I don't deserve her, Yu Long opens up in raw interview that leaves fans in tears. For months, fans have followed the emotional rollercoaster of Yu Long and young Mie Mie, from hospital emergencies to the life-changing news that they're expecting twins. But nothing could have prepared the public for the raw, unfiltered confession Yu Long made during a live interview this morning, one that has already sparked millions of reactions and an outpouring of emotion across every social platform. In the emotional sit-down hosted by veteran journalist Xiao Meng, Yu Long seemed calm at first. Dressed simply in a grey pullover and black trousers, there was no flash, no theatrics, only truth. And then, 15 minutes in, everything cracked. I feel like I stole her from a life she deserved. The camera zoomed in slowly as Yu Long hesitated to answer a simple question. What do you see when you look at young Mie Mie? His throat tightened. His jaw locked. And then, in a whisper, the words slipped out. I see someone I don't deserve. The silence that followed was deafening. I feel like I stole her from a life she deserved, he said, his voice trembling slightly. She had dreams. A path. And then chaos. I brought her into a storm. I made promises when I didn't even believe I could keep myself steady. Host Xiao Meng tried to ease the tension, but Yu Long pressed on. The rawness in his voice couldn't be undone. She was already in pain when I found her. And instead of giving her peace, I gave her another battle. Flashbacks, guilt, and the window that changed everything. Yu Long went on to reveal that the turning point in their relationship, the hospital window where young Mie Mie first opened her eyes post-surgery, haunts him more than anyone knew. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move. But she smiled. At me, he said, blinking rapidly. And all I could think was, why did she have to suffer for us to get here? He confessed that after learning they were expecting twins, he had to leave the hospital for nearly 3 hours, not to celebrate, but to cry in his car, terrified and overwhelmed. I wanted to run, he said. Not from her, never from her. But from myself. Because I didn't think I could be the father she believes I am. I've been acting strong for her. But I break every night. At one point in the interview, Yu Long turned away from the camera, trying to collect himself as tears slipped down his cheek. I've been acting strong for her, he said softly. But I break every night. I look at her sleeping. I place my hand on her stomach. And I ask myself, do I really deserve this? Her. Them. He shared a particularly emotional moment from 2 weeks prior when young Mie Mie had a false alarm and thought she was going into premature labor. I was shaking. Literally shaking. The doctor asked me to step outside because I was making it worse. I begged. I begged them to let me stay. He paused. I begged like a child. A letter he never intended to share. Halfway through the interview, Xiao Meng asked if Yu Long had ever written anything privately to young Mie Mie during their hardest times. He hesitated, then pulled out a folded piece of paper from his back pocket. I never thought I'd read this publicly. But I think, maybe people need to hear it. He unfolded the page, his fingers shaking, and began to read. To the woman who smiled through every needle, every hospital beep, every broken promise I made with trembling lips. I love you more than I have words for. But if one day you wake up and decide you want peace, real peace, without me, I won't stop you. Because even if I lose you, I'll still spend the rest of my life proving you were worth everything. When he finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Social media in shambles. This is the most honest interview I've ever seen. Within minutes, hashtags like #YouLongTears, #IDon'tDeserveHer, and #YoungMieMieForever began trending globally. Celebrities, influencers, and even former co-stars reached out publicly. Shen Yu wrote, "That kind of honesty is rare in this industry. I'm moved to tears." One top fan account posted, "Forget dramas. This is the real love story. He didn't just fight for her in the hospital. He's fighting the guilt every single day." Young Mie Mie responds, from her bedroom window. Hours after the interview aired, a grainy but powerful fan video emerged. Young Mie Mie, wrapped in a soft white robe, stood at the same hospital window where she once woke up months ago. This time, though, she wasn't weak. She looked radiant. Glowing. Unshaken. And in her hand, the very letter Yu Long had just read. She placed her hand gently on the glass, smiled, and whispered something to the nurse beside her. The nurse nodded, then held up a small sign through the glass. You deserve US. What comes next? A possible documentary. Or something else. Insiders close to the couple have revealed that Yu Long and young Mie Mie have been approached by several major platforms for a docu-series about their journey, a raw, behind-the-scenes account of their life, love, and fear. But others speculate something even bigger, a private wedding ceremony to take place at the hospital's rooftop garden, the very place Yu Long once asked the doctors if his fiancée could see the stars one last time. While nothing is confirmed, fans are already flooding the hospital with flowers, cards, and messages of hope. Final words from Yu Long. At the end of the interview, as the lights dimmed, Yu Long looked directly into the camera and spoke softly. I'm not perfect. I'm not even halfway ready. But I wake up every day because she believes I can be more. That's what love does. It doesn't rescue you. It dares you to become someone worth saving. And with that, the screen faded to black, leaving behind a story not of perfection, but of devotion, fear, and a man who knows what it means to hold a miracle he never believed he deserved. Yu Long's tears and the secret moment he hid from young Mie Mie. The cameras had stopped rolling, the studio lights dimmed. But Yu Long didn't leave the chair. He sat there, face still damp, eyes unfocused, like he was somewhere else, somewhere far more painful. A behind-the-scenes staffer later revealed that what happened after the broadcast was even more gut-wrenching than the live confession. He just sat there whispering to himself, the producer said quietly. He kept saying, I almost lost her. I almost lost her again. And then came the story no one had heard, not even young Mie Mie. She stopped breathing for 7 seconds. After the broadcast, Yu Long asked the producer for a moment off camera. What he shared privately, now leaked through an anonymous studio insider, has left fans shaken. There was one night, about 3 months ago, Yu Long said, when she stopped breathing. Just for 7 seconds. But those seconds, they destroyed me. He recalled being alone with her at the hospital when the monitors suddenly flatlined. No alarms. No doctors in the room. Just silence. I froze. My legs wouldn't move. My brain shut down, he said. All I could do was scream her name and shake her shoulders. A nurse rushed in and hit the emergency code. Doctors came running, but in those few seconds, Yu Long thought he had lost her. I didn't breathe until she opened her eyes. And even then, I didn't believe she was real. I kept touching her face, whispering, please, please come back. Young Mie Mie never knew. Yu Long made the medical team promise to keep it from her until she was stronger. I couldn't let her carry that fear, he explained. She already had enough pain in her body. I couldn't let it reach her heart too. The video he never posted, I was ready to say goodbye. Yu Long also confessed he once recorded a goodbye video, one he never posted, never showed anyone, but kept saved in a hidden folder on his phone titled For Her, If I Fail. In the clip, which sources say is under a minute, Yu Long sits on the floor of the hospital chapel, holding a small necklace young Mie Mie wore during her first surgery. If you're watching this, he says with a trembling voice, then I messed up. I couldn't protect you. I couldn't be the man you needed. He ends the video by looking up at the ceiling, holding back tears. I just hope someone will tell our kids, their mom was the strongest soul I've ever known. When asked if he planned to delete it now that she was healing, he shook his head. No, he whispered. It's a reminder of what it took to get here. Of how close I came to losing everything. I was angry at her. And then I hated myself. Yu Long's emotional confession took a darker turn as he admitted something that shocked even the interview crew. There was a night I got angry at her. Really angry, he said. She refused to take her meds. She was tired. Exhausted. In pain. And I snapped. He said he raised his voice. Told her she was being reckless. But she just looked at me. Like a child who didn't understand why her protector was yelling. That night, he went to the hospital rooftop alone and cried under the rain. I hated myself for it. I sat there soaking wet, and I thought, she deserves someone who never raises his voice. Someone calm. Someone gentle. And I knew that man wasn't me. Not yet. The strawberry incident, love in the smallest things. But the pain didn't end the story. What happened next reminded Yulong and the world why love, even flawed love, is worth fighting for. The next morning, young Mie Mie couldn't speak much, but she used her fingers to write one word on the corner of the bedsheet with her nail: strawberries. She had remembered, through pain and fever, that strawberries were Yulong's favorite comfort food. Even after the argument. Even after his guilt. She looked up at me with those eyes, and it shattered every wall inside me, he said. She was still thinking of me. He left that hospital room, bought 3 crates of strawberries, and returned with a handwritten note. You are still my miracle, even when I don't feel worthy of your grace. The doctor's revelation, I thought he was going to pass out. Dr. Chen, the lead physician on young Mie Mie's recovery, later gave her own take on Yulong's devotion. Honestly, I thought he was going to collapse before she did, Dr. Chen said. He was skipping meals, refusing to rest. One time, I caught him asleep on the floor outside the ICU. She added, I've seen a lot of partners come and go when things get hard. Yulong. He stayed through the blood, the fear, the silence. He stayed even when she didn't know if she wanted to keep fighting. A promise on her belly and a song that broke him. Just last week, Yulong reportedly knelt beside young Mie Mie's swollen belly and whispered a promise so pure, the nurse watching had to step out in tears. I don't know what kind of father I'll be, he whispered. But I swear, I'll never let you feel unloved. Not even for a second. Then, young Mie Mie reached out, grabbed his hand, and played a lullaby from her phone. One he wrote years ago, back when they were just friends. She remembered it, Yulong said. That stupid little melody I made on a broken guitar. She remembered. And right there, he broke. He wept openly on her stomach, while the heartbeat of their unborn twins echoed in the room. Final scene, the sunset she asked for. As of yesterday evening, hospital staff confirmed that young Mie Mie had one request: to watch the sunset from the rooftop garden with Yulong, the same rooftop where he once wept alone in the rain. With doctor's permission, she was wheeled out in a blanket-covered recliner, hand in hand with Yulong. And as the sky turned orange and the city softened into gold, she leaned against his chest and said softly, You don't have to deserve me. Just stay.